Hey guys, so messing around. I got a job today, so I started the week after next. So I've got about 10 days to just live life in the meantime, and so I have plenty of time to mess around with my stamp collection. Now, I recently, just recently, a few days ago, did a video on this U.S. binder, and there was a nice section of postage dues. So I am going to go through and transfer the postage dues over into my Mystic album. Now, pretty much all this other stuff earlier, I'm going to put in my grab box. So I'll show you a little video of that just for fun. And yeah, I was thinking about, I don't even know if cut squares are in here, if I'm going to transfer those or not. There's official postage due. This is a specifically back of book Mystic binder. There's my little, you guys can't see very well, but Confederate. Well, I'll check and see. I really don't think I have a cut square section in there. But if not, then all the stuff is just going to go into the grab box. And so we'll take a look at that. And then I was mulling over what to do with these manila stock pages. I actually have an abundance of them. I save them for the most part. I used to recycle some of them, but I actually, in my cabinets, I've got a big section in the back of the cabinets of these. I guess at some point I was imagining creating a big stack of them and I could sell them for cheap on eBay or something. Seems a shame to throw them away, but then again, it's not like they're brand new or anything, so I don't know. I'll figure out what I want to do with that. But anyways, just figured I'd give you guys a look into me messing around. So I'm going to go dump this stuff into my grab box after I make sure I don't have a cut square section. And then start working on putting these postage dues in. I did the other day just about one of them, and I found myself really quickly getting sidetracked with the shades in postage dues. So close this. You know, they only had like a few different shades, but I don't know if it was the sunlight at the moment or what, but when I was doing it, but I was struggling with there's like red brown or brown claret or whatever it was. And I ended up repositioning a few of these stamps in here because I decided at a glance that I had them wrong based on their color. Anyways, this back of book, oh, look at this, there you go. Yeah, I think this is the earliest, 1879. Yes, okay. See, these are brown, and these ones are red-brown from 1884. So immediately I actually switched my number ones here, or whatever, my one centers, because I decided that the one that I had in the brown certainly looked way more red-brown than the one I was about to put in. So yeah, this is one of those parts of stamp collecting that can be real tedious, and people struggle with it. It's not just me. The different shades, and this isn't even that bad. Have like 3 or 4 different shades, whatever it was. I think it was 3 on these postage dues. Is honestly actually quite easy to deal with compared to other issues of stamps. Oh my god. You know, and I'm not like some color master. I mean, red versus claret versus lake red versus, I mean, like, I have to use reference material because I don't know. I mean, they're all just kind of red to me, but yeah, it's a tedious thing to deal with that you guys may come across at some point during your collecting journey. So you know what I'm talking about, man. Some issues, it is so painful trying to decipher what color your stamps are, man. So anyways, because I get lost in thought when I'm looking at them, like, well, is this really more brown than red? Maybe it was brown red, but it faded, and all that really comes through now is the brown, you know, and the stuff like that, like these variables, like, it makes it even more muddy and messy to deal with. So, anywho, let me dump out these stock pages, clear off my desk a little bit, we'll get into these postage dues. I'm in the middle of making banana bread, but I'm waiting for some of my bananas to thaw. But I've got all the makings for banana bread. I love banana bread, and I make it every now and then. I also love pumpkin bread. Both of those are so freaking yummy. Of course, a big part of it is like a cup of sugar. I mean, and butter. Put those two things in just about anything. It's going to be delicious, right? But banana bread's great. I'm making it just plain banana bread this time, but I do want to recommend that you guys look into maybe trying it with some chocolate chips sometimes. Put like a cup of chocolate chips in there. Oh my gosh. That almost sets it over the edge to where it's too delicious. So anyways, this is all on hold while I'm making a video here, at least filming some of my stuff. So I got rid of this big couch that I had here. I've got a recliner coming. I talked about it. I was like, I don't have money for it, so I'm not going to do it. Well, I did it. I got a recliner. A little bit over 300, so not bad, but it's coming. And so anyways, show you guys, since I kind of never do this, at least in my personal space over here, but this is my bedroom, and this is like my stamp central over here. And so all of these albums we have yet to look at. So that's what I have left of, oh my gosh, Robert's collection that I bought. These are all empty binders that I have yet to decide what to do with. And then I do have random stacks of stuff. I can't even remember what's in that box. This is, like big pouch covers. One thing, honestly, this shelf, I was trying to work away at stuff on this shelf to show you guys all of it so I could free the shelf. But what I'm afraid of is I can't remember. I swear I already did a video on these, but I can't remember any of this stuff if I've done a video. So kind of sucks for me. I try to stay organized with this stuff, but if I already did a video, then I definitely don't want to show them again. But this means I'm going to have to go back and try and figure out, watching my own videos, if I've already shown these things. Kind of annoying. So anyways, this is currently the Tub O stamps for my grab bags, so it has a long way to go. I did have this when I first started the grab bags, this tub halfway full. So, I mean, it is really looking skimpy. Even after, my God, I mean, whew, I don't know, I feel like it's been a year. I just haven't been getting rid of enough stuff. But this can all change really fast. Like, albums from this collection that we have looked at, I'm going to go through at some point and decide if I want to keep them. And if I don't, then I'll just empty them into here. I can do that, or I could just sell the whole albums, keep them as is, sell them, as they are. But I'll never get this mixture big enough and created if I don't start adding stuff in here. So, anyways, I'm going to empty out these stock cards into here. Oh, I'm done. That probably took 15 minutes or something. That's a pretty big stack of pages. And of course, there will be more to go in there later, but it's looking a little bit more full now. There's a couple of things that I wanted to keep, like this return to sender. I was thinking about keeping that, but whatever, it's cool. Put it in there, help make it a little bit better. This is something, these ones I know I didn't have in my mixture last time, these little holographic ones, so that's cool. So, the mixture looks a little bit better, and though it probably only took a minute for you guys to watch me do that, that was slow and somewhat tedious. I'm not a big fan of doing that. It takes forever. You know, I end up trying to use my thumb and fingers to just slide them out of the rows, but that doesn't seem to work a lot of the time, so I actually have to use the tongs, so it can take a little bit of time. Jeez, all right, moving on. All right, so I was just looking in the catalog. For one thing, I was wrong about 3 to 4 colors. There's quite a lot. I failed to take into account the time, you know, like there has been a lot of Postage Dues, and there are a lot of different shades, but I guess in these earlier ones specifically, I kind of meant there's only a few in these earliest ones, so like brown, red, brown, and then we get into a bright claret, deep claret, but all of a sudden vermilion, you know, so and then there's more shades. You know, something I just read in the catalog I thought was interesting. They have a warning in the catalog. It says numbers J29 to 44, the colors will run when immersed in water. Extreme caution is advised. Wow, that's funky. That's a definitely worthwhile note to put in the catalog there. So yeah, I'm just kind of beginning the process. Like I was saying before, I had already dealt with the number 1 or whatever, J1, and then switched it with J15. And that is definitely the earliest design, this kind of oval with the intricate webbing on the inside. I don't know how well you can see that, but then we move on to the next kind of design, which is this guy. I don't know how to describe that shape, but kind of an odd looking shape in the middle with the intricate webbing as well. And so that is the next image design in the cat. I was struggling to read. Oh my god, I've been battling with these fruit flies, I tell you. I was struggling to read what he wrote, so yeah, I'm kind of getting more familiar. After we leave that kind of weird shaped design in the center, then we go to like this kind of half oval. So that's kind of the sequence here, and it looks like a majority of these are the half oval, but anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and start making my way through and see if I can fill this thing out. I mean, I've definitely got some in there just to show it, but I'm definitely missing some too. I've spent a good bit of time in here, but not lately. Every now and then I love to open up these Mystic binders and go through and see what's going on, because yeah, I really, between I think 4 of these, I've put so much work into these, and this is probably the one that has the least amount of stuff, maybe. That page has some pretty good stuff. So yeah, I like my as we get more recent, yeah. So like, what was I saying? So anyway, completely lost my train of thought. So this has some stuff, but not as much compared to the other ones that I have. And, but like I was saying, I do love this backup book stuff. Look at the parcel post. When I look back and I see stuff that's like uneven, you know, like this is not even, it needs to be tilted a little bit. So I'm just like, what's wrong with me? How come I couldn't have been, was I in a rush or what? I don't know. But I can say I did drink when I did a lot of this, so anyways, so it looks like we definitely have a few pages there for me to deal with. Kind of moved on to other stuff. I swear I'm going to try to kill this fruit fly, and man, I put like a buttload of duplicates in here. They're just, it's almost ridiculous, but it's cool, good enough. I see, this is kind of how I want all the pages to look, just filled out, pretty. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let me get to this here. A couple of random side notes. So, as I'm looking in the catalog, kind of refamiliarizing myself here with these, I just want to mention that it doesn't seem like they have any compound perfs until you reach 1931 releases, which would be like J79 onwards. So pretty straightforward with the perfs. Let's see, these earliest ones were the oh man, sorry, American Banknote Company, these earliest printings, and then when we switch designs and we get into the second design that I was talking about, it looks like we switched over to the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. So yeah, this supposedly would be one of the ones, if I submerged in water, that the colors would run very badly. So I will exercise extreme caution then. So anyways, I'm as I've been going through these, I'm noticing. I noticed earlier in this album that he made some mistakes before. Like, I've already found some and like, ooh, he was wrong, you know. But a lot of the time he's right. I'd probably give him like 80% accuracy on the stamps that he's identified. But let me just mention, like, ooh, where were those? Ooh, they're in a different binder actually, but he had some little snippets off of morning covers, and he just went ahead and identified the stamps on them. Well, you know, when I looked them up, it turned out that one of the defining factors to determine if it was one issue or another was the watermark. Well, they were on paper, so I don't know how in the world he could have confidently determined which stamp it was, because he couldn't check the watermark on either of the stamps on these little morning cover cutouts. So, in my album, when I put them in there, unless I'm confident, if I'm confident, I'll put them in the spot, and if not, I'll put them on kind of the side page here, you know, that's blank, and but you know, I'll be like, yeah, this could be number 51 or 52. Can't see watermark. You know, I'll be honest, in the album, it's like, I don't know which one it is, and I'm not going to soak it off the paper piece to determine that. So, you know, unless I'm missing something, I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys know a way to see what the watermark would be on a stamp that's on paper. Unless you can, you know, have enough luck or miraculously just be able to see it through the back, even through the paper. Like, let's say if you soaked it in lighter fluid or something like that, in watermark fluid, ultimately most paper that stamps are on, in my opinion, I'm never able to actually see what the watermark is if it's on paper. And if that's a factor that is important to truly identify the stamp, how can you ever be confident in what stamp it is, right? So that's just something I've run into. Yeah, that's one thing that I don't like about on-paper stamps, and I bet you that's something that people with mint stamps like. They never have to deal with that baloney, you know. They're mint, right? So they can have like the utmost confidence, you know, that they've identified it correctly. They just don't have to deal with that. So, just a side note, that's one thing that I think is advantageous to being a mint stamp collector. You just don't have to deal with stuff like that. But, you know, in the world of most collectors that don't just only collect mint, a lot of people do used or a mixture of both, like me. You just kind of have to do the best you can. And I've spent a lot of time on a stamp before in the past and not been able to give it my seal of approval and say I'm confident from every aspect that this stamp has been identified correctly. You know, when I can't see something as important as, let's say, the watermark. So, now for this specific stamp, what I'm noticing is, you know, a lot of these come down to the perfs and watermarks, right? And then the design, of course. But see, he called this a J61A. So he's actually thinking that this, is rose red color. That's what he decided, instead of carmine rose. Ooh, this is where right now I'm going to draw the line for myself and say, look, is this pink rose? Is this carmine rose? I mean, I would agree. Maybe it's a little pinkish. It looks like it through the camera. I'm not going to squabble over that. This is another thought. You know, some collectors don't. It's like, look, you know, it's definitely a J61, right? Now we got A, B, C, or it looks like A and B, actually, for this specific one. So it could be carmine rose, rose red, or deep claret. You know, life is fleeting, okay? I don't know how much I care which shade it actually is. How much time do I really want to spend on that? I know that there's some collectors that are real hoity-toity about this, and they're real touchy, and it's real important to them that they've got that down, that it's a A instead of just a J61. It's a J61A, and they pride themselves on that, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is part of where the hobby kind of turns into a little bit of a nightmare. Like if you look at older stamp albums, they didn't even have these different colors sometimes, right? It'd just be like, look, it's a J61, regardless of what shade it is. It's a J61. That's all that really matters to them, That's like, it used to be simpler, but now we have designations for so many different things on these stamps, and I just have to decide how deep I want to go into it. How much do I actually care? Well, I can tell you right now, as I sit here in front of this page of stamps that I'm about to delve into, I don't care that much. I'm just not going to stress about it. In this album, like, I don't even know if it has A's. Let's take a look at J61. I'm a little bit too early here in the album. J60. Okay, J61. So it looks like I already have one in there. Wow. Actually, since I happen to have the ability to compare, I do want to say... Oh, almost got that thing. Fruit flies. So I do want to say it looks like a lighter shade. I can see it even through the camera, and I'm sure it'll look better on my computer screen when I edit this. But yeah, I would be buying into that. Maybe this is pink rose. I don't think this is a deep kind of color or anything, at least compared to this other one, right? Well, so maybe I'll just like put this to the side, and maybe with that I could actually confidently say maybe it is pink rose. Go figure. Jeez, what are the odds? But see, I had a reference stamp, so... and then again, this could be like a deep claret that's been faded, and that's where it just gets wacky for me. Oh, somebody wrote on the back. What did they think? No watermark, J61A perf 11 is what they wrote on the back. So I was going to mention earlier, on a lot of these it's coming down to the perfs, the design, and the watermark. Well, luckily, the perfs is a really easy way to separate it, so I don't have to squirt a bunch of watermark fluid on every single one of these. Like he says this is J61A. Well, the first thing I did was measure the perfs, because according to the catalog, J61A has perf 11, and that's the only perf 11 of that design. So if it has perf 11, which I checked and it does, then it's definitely not any of the other options that it could be. I just got one section to look at, and then then it comes down to what shade it is. But I just wanted to mention that, like, I don't want to squirt a bunch of watermark fluid and waste a bunch of lighter fluid checking the watermarks on all these. I'm going to try to avoid that by using the perfs as kind of the determining thing. And if it turns out that I have to check the watermark, then I will. Okay, well, I got a couple of J32s is how he's identified these. He said this one is, brown, I can't see it, Brown Lake. So he thinks this is Brown Lake. Well, I was just staring at this thing, and man, I don't think so. I can't see a lick of brown at all. Usually you can tell. If they say it's Brown Lake, you should see some kind of brown, I would imagine. However slight it may be, and I just don't see it. Now this one, he says rose carmine. I'd be buying into that more. It's just got kind of a lighter color. But yeah, Brown Lake, I'm really struggling with that. What are the other options here? Okay, well, for one thing, actually, before I, dilly-dally with the shades too much. Oh, God. You guys see the back of this thing? Oh, it looks like garbage. I don't even think I'll be able to see the watermark. Oh well. The back of this other one looks great though. So I wanted to check. The earliest of these ones, of this design, don't have a watermark. So, considering that somebody was bold enough to write on the back of these, they should have checked the watermark. They are Perf 12. I just checked that. So we're saying they should be unwatermarked. Sure, it looks kind of dark for you guys, but okay, that's the cancel. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a watermark on that. So I'd be blind to that. It can be, the watermarks could be like these, US 190 or 191 kind of single or double line watermarks. Yeah, and I just don't see, I can't see much at all on this one. So that one I'm just not sure. Darn, I wish the back wasn't such a mess. Well, anyways, I'm confident, at least with this lighter shade one, that does not have a watermark. So, for this lighter shade one, that means, as I look at the cat, and it's a 2 cent, yep, so it must be J32. Interesting. So, this one's actually a decent stamp. Kind of let that dry off a little bit. So $10 used cat price, mint $62.50, and then never hinged $240. Surprising. And why they have to separate the mint versus the never hinged? I mean, because these older stamps, it's so common for them to be hinged that they just wanted to separate that. The odds of finding one that actually hasn't been hinged are smaller than finding one that has been hinged. It was just a more common practice back then. I mean, we're talking 1894 to 5 here, and not to mention how long hinges were used long after this stamp was issued. Into like, I don't even know. I wonder when people kind of stopped hinging and started mounting. Since stamp collecting was pretty massive in the world, all the way up until I feel like around the 80s, I feel like it was pretty big in the 70s, and then it kind of dropped off around the 80s or something. I don't know when mounts came about. But I feel like most people in the 70s were probably hinging their stamps. These are totally random thoughts I'm having, but yeah, I've never really thought about that. When did the general community stop hinging things? Because I feel like mounts are relatively a recent thing, but how recent, Do they even have mounts in the 80s? I wonder. I don't know these things. Anyways, okay, so let me, so what was I saying here? So, oh Christ, I got lost. Okay, so it's a J32. Let me go back. J32, almost there. J32, wow, cool. So I get to fill the space. Now, this is telling me it should be deep claret. Interesting. Actually, that's another thing I forgot to mention. So I'm over here like different shades. This one is clearly darker than this one. But in the catalog, they're not even specifying a shade. However, at the bottom of this section of J31 to 37, and we've got a J32 here, it says shades are numerous in the 1894 and later issues. So, and then let me see what else it says. Let me scroll down. So that's really what it says. It just says that there's a lot of shades. So, Why is that? I don't know. Maybe I'm not in the specialized catalog. There might be more information in there, but so that kind of answers that. I mean, deep claret is what it's listed as, but there are numerous shades. So, so be it. Just not gonna spend any more time on it, I guess. I'll slip both of these in. And, they I was just thinking maybe I'll write a note that what they say in the catalog, 1894 issues and after have numerous shades, but they do have in these Mystic albums this kind of section of information on the other side. I'm going to read this real quick, see if it already says that in there. So I didn't mention anything about the shades, so I think I will write a little note. But interestingly, reading the information on the side, it mentions that let's see, for 25 years, pretty much, the design remained unchanged. And then when the Bureau of Engraving and Printing took over, they changed the design, and slightly, they changed the design. While the earlier issues had the numeral in an oval, the newer releases had the value in a diamond. So that's what they're calling that kind of weird shape I couldn't describe as a diamond. So interesting, but is this... Hold on, okay, yeah, there are earlier ones. Sorry. I was like, this isn't 25 years, 91 to 94, but yeah, okay, so 1879 is when they started. Okay, so, interesting. All right, cool. Well, what? So I read some information. I learned something weird. Weird how that can happen. I'll probably forget that. But so unchanged for 25 years, then changed. Oh man! By the way, this J23 here, I absolutely love this one. Look at that. Look at the X cancel. I can't see it well through my camera, but I think you guys can. That's an awesome strike. Just dead center with X. Man, love that one so much. What a cool cancel. Oh, that is perfect. Just talk about bullseye. Holy moly. It's like, it is, like perfect cancel. It's kind of missing some of the ring, but the placement, the centering of that cancel is immaculate. That was a great strike. Love that stamp so much. Easily my favorite stamp on the page because of that. Well, anyways. Where was I? I think that I lost my stamps. Uh-oh. Crap. Where did I have them? Oh, I put them in there already. Keep it together, man. Keep it together. Okay, so they're in there. Alright, cool. Moving on. Extremely off-center stamp with a partial slogan cancel. Not sure what that says. Let's see if I can read it. Looks like it says Olden something. Yeah, just not enough on there to read the whole thing. He says this is J45. Well, if it's J45, let me look at the catalog and see here. So this is a little bit later than the last one. And he's saying this one has a watermark 190. It should be Perf 12, Deep Claret. So first of all, let me check the perfs. Perf 12. What? Hold on, not even close. Okay, let's try 11. Oh, 11 is spot on. Wow. How did they do that? See, this is a problem with just depending on people's stuff. I've had many people comment on many videos. You can't just trust what other people have done, and it's true. It is true. So, yeah, wow. That was a clear 11, not even close to 12. And we've got, it's a 1 cent. So then it has to be a J61. And he said it was a J45. Wow. Not even close, dude. Not even close. J61, these are the ones I was just dealing with. Then, yeah, regardless of whatever shade it is, I just don't care. This specific one looks a little faded, so I'm just going to slip it back in there. Huh. Ooh, this banana bread is looking good. Oh my god, it smells so good. Oh, my whole apartment smells like this. I'm loving it. Man, so I recorded like the next 15 minutes. This is actually the next day. And I forgot to turn on my freaking microphone. So, oh my gosh, I hate when I do that. It is such a pain in the butt. I mean, I discussed a whole lot of things. So, anyways, I was working. I'm just going to try to run through what I remember speaking about. So, I was back at it. Now, one thing I noticed, I'm showing the U.S. Precision Specialty Multi-Gauge because that's my favorite perf gauge ever. I love that thing. I use that thing to identify all these different postage dues. Now, this gentleman had made a lot of mistakes. I was actually quite surprised, frankly. I think I said that 80% of the time he was right. Well, on this postage due section, it was like 20% of the time he was right. He messed up a lot. I don't know what the deal was, but I was speculating maybe his perf gauge was different. I'm just not sure what was going on, but he seemed to keep confusing 10.5 perfs for being 11. And ultimately, I'm sure, sorry, let me shut my phone off, Jesus. So, that was just like a prominent problem over and over and over. So I had to go and check. Now, every single stamp that I was going to put in there, of course, I checked to make sure. I did fill a few spots with some stamps that I didn't have yet, so that was great. I also did add like a couple of extras into a lot of spots that I already had. And I got really more familiarized with these postage dues again. It's been quite a while, but they stop at a certain point. I can't remember what year it was, but they stop in like the 50s or 60s or something like that, and then all of a sudden they pick back up again in like 78, and they went for like a few more years into the 80s, and they did like a last issue of 3 different postage dues, and then that was it for postage dues. I think that they officially ended in the 80s, in the 1980s apparently, like early 80s. So that was good. I ended up going through here. I ended up realizing that I was like, are there revenue stamps in this back of book album is what I was wondering at this point. And no, there was no revenue stamps in here. I seem to forget that. Every now and then I pick up this back of book, and I for some reason expect there to be revenue stamps in this book. Well, there's not. There's what's shown here in the index at the front. So just no revenues whatsoever. And so if you want to get into putting revenues into an album, you kind of need to either make your own or you need to buy an actual revenue album. And so like this one has an awful lot of different stuff. Here I think I'm checking, do I already have these special delivery stamps? Do I have these certified mail stamps? Kind of the stuff at the bottom half of the page. And I do. I already got all this, so I'm just going to throw the rest of this stuff into my grab box. But the next page, we get into different revenues, and this is kind of like the second half of this video. What I was going through was figuring out that, no, I don't have a revenue album. I don't know how I always forget that, but no, they're separate, and they're almost in my mind like true back a book. Like people say back a book, and it's like, yeah, you got special delivery, that kind of stuff, airmail, blah blah blah. But then I don't know if airmail's even back of book, frankly, but certified mail, registered mail, that kind of stuff. That's all back of book, and there's actually a bunch of postage dues that I don't need that will go in the box. But anyways, yeah, revenues are almost like true back a book to me. I mean, it's really a specialty thing. If you're into that, then you kind of need to get your own catalog for revenues. You need to get your own album for revenues. I will say, though, the Scott Specialized catalog does have pretty in-depth information about revenues. They have a nice revenue section. There is a revenue section in the normal U.S. catalog, Scott catalog as well, but the Specialized catalog definitely goes more in-depth. Here I found a little block of these $1 ones I decided to keep. It has that kind of rubber ink stamp cancel. I like that. So I put that on the side of the page. And I do believe I ended up finding the $5 one, J101, down at the bottom that's missing. So I was able to fill that spot and complete that page, which is great. And then you can see then the rest of the stuff, really we get into a bunch of different revenues is what the bottom half of this other page is. So there's two of them that really stuck out to me. And they were... those, you might see them there, R18 stamps. He says that they're on silk paper. They're the green ones, kind of near the bottom. And he says that they're $55 each, which is a little surprising. So, you know, in reality, that's, I'm sure, cat price, so they're probably $5 stamps a piece. But I ended up going on this entire journey here to try and figure out and learn what is silk paper. Are these stamps really silk paper? Like, how did he know that, or was he wrong? So anyways, here, that's what we're about to get into. Here I am just happy to have found this $5 postage due, so I complete that page. And then, yeah, so without remembering all of the different stuff that I talked about, which is unfortunate, I think that I'm just going to go ahead and cut out some of this video that has no audio, and we'll just kind of skip forward to the next thing that I was messing with, which was silk paper postage stamps. I have I have one great resource here to help you learn a little bit about it, and then I'm going to share. I actually did end up getting my recliner delivered like a week early, which was quite surprising. So all of a sudden I've got a recliner chair. I'll just show you guys that just for fun. And, oh, by the way, so these are the last three postage dues that I was talking about ever issued by the U.S. Looks like 78 to 85, for whatever reason they did release those. So, anywho, that was where postage dues end for the U.S. And, yeah, I do think, by the way, that I did some talking about how much I love these Mystic albums and how much time and effort I actually did put into creating them. I remember that I did mention my prized possession, probably out of everything I own, is my first Mystic album that starts at 1847 with the U.S. #1, the first release from U.S., and goes onward. Now, I have three other albums, or two others, I think, actually, that go up to 1966, and then I have a backup book, this one here. So I have four altogether. But, you know, for new viewers, new subscribers, in case you guys have never seen my first Mystic album, I'm going to put a link to that in the description because it really is my favorite album ever that I've made. I put so much time. I mean, we're talking like tens of thousands of dollars into that thing. It's actually valuable. It's got some really cool stuff. So if you guys have never seen the video that I made of my first Mystic album, the link will be in the description if you want to check that out. And then I did do a video of the three other albums afterwards, including this backup book album. Each has its own dedicated video. So if you like that first Mystic album, then you can continue and watch the other albums in the series for these Mystic albums that I love so much. So anyways, let's just go ahead and scoot on forward here. I think I'm just talking about how all of this I'm going to end up putting in my grab box, even though they're super cool and old and I like them so much. I love revenues, I do. I just don't have an album for them. I'm not going to keep all of them. And actually, it looks like here is where I first start to get into these silk paper postage stamps. I end up in the catalog looking at this in the Specialized catalog. And it looks like it is correct that they are R18s. However, how does he know that they're silk paper? And so that's what I wanted to get into. How do you actually determine that? So anyways, let's just move on, and we'll get into that. Now, I seeing the Carson Lumi Loop come out, I know I was talking about how I was using that to see if I could see some silk fibers instead of that magnifying glass. I love the Carson Lumi Loop. If you guys don't have one, check it out, man. That thing is great. I can see almost all details I need on most stamps using that magnifier loop. It's only a 10 times magnifier, but I find it's really just such a fantastic tool. I think it's easier than using a magnifying glass. And I get a really good look at all kinds of details on a lot of different stamps. So I really, really love that thing. It's not that expensive. Again, it's called the Carson, Carson, Lumi, Lumiloope, the Lumi Loop. Carson Lumi Loop. So check that thing out. Really love that thing. So anyways, here we're looking at the back of these supposed silk paper postage stamps. One of them has a bunch of crap on the back, and the other one's nice and clean. That one that has that scripted 9 a.m. written on it, that's the best example. What a beautiful stamp, honestly. I actually quite like it. But this is where we're going to switch over to... I'm going to screen record on my computer and show you the resource I found to try and give me some information about whether or not these are silk postage. So here we go. Okay, this is actually the first website that I went to from a Google search trying to learn about silk paper postage stamps. This one talks about the different varieties, and they specifically say the D variety is the first issue revenues, Scott R1 to 102. And those are what they say is on, they're on experimental silk paper, first employed about August 1870. Well, you can see the examples here, and you can see the fibers, kind of similar to granite paper postage stamps, but they didn't. I don't think they had that yet. I'm not sure. I don't think so, to be honest. But this was the first website I went to that showed an example of what you're looking for. At least you got a visual image of it. Now we're going to skip over to Stamp Smarter, which I found to be a little bit more useful overall. All right, guys, so I just want to touch base on this real quick. This is a website that I have recommended in the past for, online stamp collecting resources, stampsmarter.com. This is an awesome website. Well, so I just showed that other clip from the other site that showed those kind of silk fibers on the paper. Well, my search to try and solidify exactly how to tell, if it's silk paper or not, led me here. So, just another fantastic site here talking about all the different papers used for United States stamps. And I just wanted to share this because if you're struggling, with that thin, hard paper, soft, porous paper, silk paper, whatever kind of paper, this is a really great page to look at. They start talking about how the different types of paper are made, like wove papers made from forming pulp on a wire cloth and all of that kind of stuff. And so they'll break down the different papers for you. Soft, porous. Anybody who's ever tried to identify, earlier U.S. stamps has heard these terms. Hard white, soft, porous. It could be a real pain in the butt. Well, this is an abundance of information to really help you figure out what kind of paper you have. They even talk about the different varieties that you could have. Now, down here, those are for like early U.S. stamps. Down here, look at back of book, including revenues. They give you a little introduction blurb, and then they start talking about the different kinds of paper. Well, wouldn't you know it, number 5 here, silk paper. That's what I'm trying to determine. So let's read this paragraph here. I haven't even read the whole thing, so we'll kind of learn this together. It says, differing from the 19th century silk paper found in the regular postage issues, which we saw above, the type found on the first issue revenue stamps is considered experimental silk. and only a few fibers, normally in blue, which is interesting because that's exactly what that other picture showed, can be seen embedded in the surface of the paper. The fibers can be located using a strong 10 to 30 times magnifying glass. So as soon as I read that, I went and looked at my Carson LumiLoop. Well, that thing's only at 10 times, which seems to be enough majority of the time, but interesting they mentioned a 10 to 30, so I could go even further. Anyways, the fibers can occur on the back or front of the stamp, but are most often more located on the back. I guess the back is the best way to check. If you had debris, you should soak off any debris, clean it up so that you can really tell. I read that on the other site, but interesting they're saying we should really just check on the back. So that's a good note. Now it says the second issue revenue series of 1871 was printed on a special chameleon patented silk paper, which is usually very light violet or pinkish in color, though many copies are simply white as well. This paper has many silk fibers, so differs considerably from the experimental type found on the first revenue issues. Now, the third revenue issue of 1871 to 72 was also printed on the same paper as the second issue. The silk paper found in the private dye proprietary stamps, they say match and medicine, is either regular silk paper, which contains numerous silk fibers close to the surface, or experimental silk, which only has a few fibers. I think that's such a key phrase. So, that's why the second issues the actual paper itself would appear a different color, but on the first issues, this experimental silk only has a few fibers. So the paper is going to look normal and then just have a couple of silk fibers on it. So anyways, the regular silk is very easy to identify, while experimental is not, and requires close inspection as suggested for the first revenue issues. So they'll can go on to talk about essays and proofs and other things that you can read about if you would like. Oh, look at even the different colors, oh man, of cut blocks. I mean, all of that is super duper helpful. So anyways, this paragraph here, though, that really helped to clear up for me what I'm looking for when I'm trying to tell if these are silk paper on these R18s. So anyways, I'm going to put a link to this page in the description in case anybody wants to use it. Feel free to bookmark it. This is a really great resource. And then don't sleep on this entire Stamp Smarter website. I've shown this before. There is a buttload of resources to use. I find that it's somewhat geared more towards, I think, the U.S. It looks like they do have Commonwealth, information as well. I was in the wrong place. Features has all of these identifier tools and catalogs. Look at Canadian stamps. It has this Washington Franklin identifier, how to check U.S. tag stamps. The 1847 USA is a really good one for older stamps. They got postal history information. Oh my gosh. Plating resources, cancels and marks. Look at return to sender, return to writer. Interesting. Huh. I wonder if that came before return to sender. It probably did. Anyways, look at revenue cancels. Yeah, I mean, games and silly stuff. General tools. Illustrated glossary. I think that this one is pretty good because if you have different terms that you're unfamiliar with, then they give you an actual illustration of what those things are, right? I think that's a great one, the illustrated glossary. Anyways, links, color ID. I forget even. There's so much stuff on here. So don't sleep on this website. This is a really, 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 really great tool, specifically for U.S. people, but obviously other countries as well. But I really do think it's geared towards the U.S. So just a heads up. Anyways, like I said, link in the description. So moving on, I'm going to go and try to see if I can get I'm going to take a real thorough look at these stamps again to see if I can pick out at least one silk fiber on them, front or back, and then I'll let you know what I come up with. Well, I had recorded all this, of course, but the short story is no. I couldn't find a single silk fiber front or back on either of those. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're just normal R18s. I think that they're actually considered R18Cs, which are the perforated ones, which only have a $9 catalog value each. So that pretty much answers that for me. I mean, it's I'm just unsure why he thought they were silk paper. I don't know what catalog the guy was using. I'm not sure what the deal was, but with my best efforts, I've come up with that no, I don't see a single silk fiber on the front or the back, and I just think that they're just perforated R18s. So that's that. Anyways, moving on. I'm just going to share this recliner that just showed up. I was pretty excited about it. I actually really like it. Holy moly. Anyways, you guys can stick around if you want to see me unbox really quick and just try out my new recliner. I thought it was a great deal. Anyways, so I'm going to share a little bit about that. Otherwise, if you're only here for stamp stuff, then, you can pretty much call it quits here. I will have a link to that Stamp Smarter website, specifically that paper identification page in the description. So if you guys want to use that, then you can copy that, bookmark it. Also, I'll have a link to my first Mystic album that I really, really love. In case nobody's ever seen it and is interested, you can watch that video. I'll have a link in the description below. As always, I really appreciate all you guys. I love the stamp stuff. This is great. I've got a little time here before I start work to mess around with stamps again and kind of delve into it all. I'm really enjoying it. So anyways, I'll catch you later, guys. Holy moly. Just got my recliner delivered. I was trying to determine if these R18s are silk paper, but my phone kept going off. I'm like, what? What is it? It's my new recliner. So let me set this thing up. I can't even say how awesome this is. That was super easy to set up. Actually, I realize I need to Velcro that down. But, man, this is crazy. So, I know this is completely off subject of stamps, but these right here, these two things, this massage chair and this recliner, are both great examples of how amazing Amazon can be. Oh my gosh. So both of them just came in a big box and they're super easy to set up. That was silly easy. You literally, the whole base is made. You slide the back down and you slide these side cushions onto the back. I mean, the setup couldn't have been easier. Didn't have to mess with a single screw. It's actually altogether quite light. So this will be great when it's time to move. That'll be really easy. And as a matter of fact, I can just pull the back and the sides up off of it and just lay it flat. Oh my God, it is unbelievable. Look at this. Kind of classy with the studs, huh? Rivets, I guess. Riveted studs, whatever you call that. Surprisingly plush. It's actually pretty good. Somebody complained that it was too firm. Well, I don't feel that way. I think it's great. I think that the butt cushion should be a little bit more firm because that's going to take most of the weight. But like these side ones in the back, oh my gosh, super plush, super soft. Oh man, some kind of dense foam they use. Yeah, I got espresso brown. Wow. Anyways, this thing's nuts. Hold on, let's check this out. So, trying not to block the camera. We've got a little side lever. So you just pull it. And actually, here, let me show. Whoa. So it slips that out. Then all you got is push to recline back. This is cool. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let me go look on Amazon and tell you guys again how expensive this was. I think it was $300. Let me check. Okay, so it was $290. I had a $40 coupon. I don't know where that is right now, but that was there for me, a $40 coupon, and it was $50 delivery, right? So basically, with the coupon, I really only paid $10 delivery. I ended up $317 or $318 for this recliner, delivered right to my front door because I'm a Prime member, and well, I guess it didn't matter. I still paid for delivery, but I just want to put this out there. I mean, guys, $300. This thing is sweet. I was really unsure about it, and like I said last video I did, I was really thinking about that I should probably go to a store and sit in the chair and make sure, like, well, this one has returns, you know, if I don't like it or if it's damaged. And I'm lazy, so I didn't really want to go to the store and pay to get it delivered anyway. And I actually did hours of looking at reviews and different chairs, and I settled on this one. And I was thinking, man, I got to pop $500, $600, $800, you know, to really get a good chair. I was thinking about a Lazy Boy, but those are, it turns out, even though they're great, way too expensive. So I was like, fine, let's try this. Man, that was really cool. So I'm super happy about that. Oh my god. Honestly, as soon as I sat down in that thing, I was like, this is great. I mean, for $300 delivered to my door with one of the easiest setups I've ever seen.